Witchlings, welcome back to my channel. I'm your local chaotic witch aunt, and today we have a guest.
Hello.
If you don't know who Olivia is, I don't know. Olivia is also known as the Witch of Wonderlust. Wonderlust. And today they're here to talk with me and help me talk to you guys about baneful magic.
Yes.
Your bitch has a very specific way of doing it. This bitch has a very specific way of doing it. Everyone has a very specific way of doing it. So we're gonna explore all those different ways today. So you wanna start baneful magic, or so you wanna hex someone. And we're gonna start by like things you need to keep in mind before, or questions to ask yourself before hexing.
You know, is this, what? There's so many, it's nuanced, right? Because
It is.
A lot of the time it's an emotional reaction, and which isn't always a bad thing. That doesn't like invalidate it, but that just, I think you definitely need to take a minute to actually process of like why you're hexing someone. So for example, I get a lot of people who are like, I'm living with somebody who's terrible and I want to hex them, and it's like,
don't curse on anyone you live with because it'll just rub off on you.
right, well it's like, because if you're living with a cursed person, first of all,
like if you're living with a cursed Victorian child,
that's just like not a good situation.
it's not a good situation.
Yeah. That's a bad time. But it's also like, you have to take into account too, is that actionable? Like is that going to actually do anything? Because if you're hexing somebody, you're making their life shit. And if somebody that you're living with, you make their life shit, they're probably gonna make your life even shittier because they're pissed off that their life is shit. So
yeah, good rules of thumb, don't poop where you eat.
oh, should I not be cursing?
No, you could.
Good, just making sure.
I was gonna say don't shit where you eat, but
well, that's why I was like, should I not? Because you were like, don't poop where you eat, and I was over here being like, shit. I just figured, I was like, maybe I should ask. Sorry, okay, anyway.
I think that my big thing is always like, I guess in my personal practice, I'm always against petty spells.
Yeah.
Like spells for petty reasons.
It's also so much work to do something like that to someone. It's so much work and energy.
And then you just like,
I don't know.
And then it's just like, because I've done spells and curses for petty reasons, and all that ends up happening is either the universe throws it back on me, although that was 100% my own fault, because the lemon curse was hanging outside the window.
Oh, that's right.
And rolled into the gutter. The other thing is like, if you're doing, I don't do it in the house. I do not do anything on my property that could possibly rub off, and because if you do, it's like a matter of like cleaning the space, cleaning yourself beforehand, doing it, then putting it somewhere else, and then cleaning and doing it beforehand. And then even one that I did for someone else, which is like a cursing jar, was in the fridge in the garage. It wasn't in the house.
Right.
It's like out.
It's just a lot of fucking work.
It is.
So
you gotta find a crossroad, gotta sit at the crossroad, you gotta find a dirt crossroad?
Yeah, there's not a lot.
No one,
there's not a lot. You have to go to like buttfuck nowhere to find one of those crossroads.
You buttfuck nowhere.
You know.
Gotta go to the mountains, find a circle of trees.
Yeah, but it's just like, you know, and then when you actually are sitting down, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like Frankie said, they don't do it in their house, right? Like, most practitioners that I know are not going to do it in the house, and if they do, they have a very specific setup, and you have to be like, there's a lot of precautions.
Yeah.
And it does get like energetically messy because cursing work is really chaotic energy, and like not in the fun way, you know? And you have to cleanse everything prior. You have to banish and make sure you have a clean working space, actually do the cursing work and make sure that there's protections up so it doesn't just go everywhere. And then after that, neutralize everything, get rid of the cursing work, and somehow like whatever cursing you're doing.
God, it's like spilling paint
it's just,
on
it's
your floor and then cleaning it up.
That's exactly what it's like. And then like, cause then you have to clean all your tools, you have to clean your space, and like, it's not just like a quick cleansing, it's like a full out cleanse.
I don't have time for that.
And then like a spiritual bath to make sure that none of that like
I just do that outside. I'll go find a clearing somewhere and do it there, leave it, come home, and then take all my clothes off and do a shower with Hail Marys, Florida water over the head, rue, smoke cleansing, everything.
Yeah.
Because then I just have to worry about myself. Because bro, I don't keep track of like, I am really bad with
Me too.
that.
It's like general
Witchy like cleanup, not my strong suit after a spell. Cursing and hexing is like, or baneful magic I guess is a spectrum, and we were talking about this in the car. Baneful magic is a spectrum with so many different ways of doing things, and the idea of baneful magic is you're wishing harm upon someone, but I often find that within this baneful magic there are ideas like holding someone accountable for their actions. Any domination work is typically, I consider domination work separate from baneful magic, but a lot of people consider it under that umbrella.
I think it's a Venn diagram. I think there's a lot of overlapping.
I'm gonna draw one. Give me a second. You can keep talking.
Oh, okay. I think it's a Venn diagram because, again, like, that's one of those things where domination can be a totally separate thing than baneful, but they can both work underneath the same thing, and kind of like we were talking about in the car, that blessing and baneful can be basically the same thing depending on how you're doing it.
I love a good blessing someone to see the full flaws of themselves. And also, I'm gonna make a big Venn diagram. Okay, so here's baneful, here's domination, and here's blessing. And I'm using blessing as like a big term for not just like traditional blessing, but like you're putting like a blessing, it's like goodwill, but it's goodwill phrased a certain way. So in here, oh wait, there we go. We're gonna come up with examples.
Okay.
I love doing this. So baneful magic is like a traditional curse, and when I say traditional curse, I mean like poppet, jinx, hex. And so those three things are like, oh, my veil. Hold on, we're having a functional issue. God, all right, you keep writing. So like a traditional hex or a traditional curse would be like seal their name in a jar with a bunch of not fun ingredients, or put a bunch of not fun ingredients in the poppet, or hex them or jinx them with misfortune, specifically. Then domination magic is like, I guess we put love spells there.
Yeah, and again, that also...
You have such nice handwriting.
Oh, thanks.
Very sexy.
You're sexy.
Wife.
I've
dominated someone to clean their room before.
Have you really?
Yep.
That's incredible. All the parents out there are like, tell me what that is right now.
I did a domination spell.
The classic bend over, do as I say spells.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or come to me spells.
Yeah, I mean that would probably be under like love a little bit.
And then blessing. Bless that bitch with good stuff. So that's a traditional blessing, is you're blessing someone, good health.
I want to talk about the overlap of baneful blessing, because a lot of the time people will be like, I don't do baneful work, I only work in the light, which like is fine, but then they turn around and tell me, you know, if somebody I feel like needs, I'm not gonna hex them, but I'm gonna bless everyone around them. That's still baneful magic, because your intention of blessing everyone around them isn't to actually just give all these people blessings for no reason and just because. Your intention is to bless everyone around this person in order to make this person...
So they feel less than.
Exactly. So it's like you're doing baneful magic, but you're cloaking it with something that looks like blessings, and then trying to say that you
it's
don't
still
hex. Like
coming
that's
from someone who does a lot of blessings.
That's
still
baneful work
magic.
Because the intention of
It's always about your intention. These are all different methods to get your intention across, but they all are kind of like baneful in a different way. I love blessing people with the ability to see their flaws in true transparency and feel guilty about them.
a mirror box.
I love Saint Michael for that. Saint Michael.
Yeah, Saint Michael would kick your ass for that.
Oh, I know.
I love that.
But I would bring him in for it because he's the type of person that I know
He's not playing games.
he would do it. And it's also, he does everything for the greater good because he's an angel, obviously. So then I'm like, hey, this is for the greater good. And he's like, yeah, okay. And I'm like,
nice.
bless everyone around them, bless the people around them to see them for what they truly are. I like blessings because I can do them quick. It's not as much work for me.
Oh, really?
I can do a candle and a 9-day blessing, done.
Blessings are harder for me than baneful magic is.
This is different type of people. Also, my ancestors will help.
Yeah.
And the saints will help. If I do it that way, I get assistance from people I want.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Baneful and domination. That's a nice overlap.
That's a common overlap.
It's a
a
very
lot of
common
people
overlap.
feel that domination is under Baneful regardless, because a lot of the time we think of love spells and like the hardcore love spells of like, just love me, I don't care, you know.
Yeah,
which
really
like, just
intense
don't do
ones.
that.
Don't do that.
Or the bend over, like do as I say. So those can come in all different forms of like very light of just like, can you just like do this one thing? Or it's on the other side of like, a lot of the time people do it on their bosses.
Oh, I didn't necessarily do that, but I did do a spell to help someone get a particular job. But that's not necessarily domination.
That's not a domination spell. But you could, if you wanted to, like strong arm it, you could.
Boss dom?
You can boss dom.
Well, a lot of it is like kind of hex. A hex that I would do under the realm of domination would be like hexing someone to, because I guess I see hex. They're so separate to me in my head. Because when I'm hexing, I'm not necessarily forcing myself. Well, I guess I am forcing myself upon people when I'm exerting my will into the universe. So I consider domination anything I'm doing with another person, because I'm exerting my energy and will over theirs. I think that the idea of like consent, it is now, domination magic has now become under the realm of baneful magic because of ideas of consent coming from the threefold law, which I do think that consensual spells are fantastic, and I do think that some non-consensual spells are awful. Like, I don't like love spells. I think they're harmful in certain areas, and that's like, the Italian folk magic love spells are fucking intense.
They're insane.
They are insane.
You're like, damn, mama, you really
So you
wanted
don't
that.
want to do that. But I think a lot of the things that people miss about domination magic is it was usually done with someone in a power dynamic where they needed to do it.
Yeah.
They needed to do it to survive.
Right.
It's out of survival. It's not out of like, I'm dominating this
Which is
person
why
for
a lot
fun.
of the time domination magic doesn't really have a place in a lot of modern areas.
Well, because white people don't need to dominate. We already
dominating?
We already dominate everything. We don't need to do anything.
So I think that's why people are like, you should never, and it's like you can't really look down on it because like you've never really had to do domination magic, right?
Blessing, da-da-da. There are lots of different methods for just good old baneful magic, hexes, curses, jinxes, and you're gonna find different methods depending on where what traditions you're looking at. A really great book for this is Utterly Wicked by Dorothy Morrison. It was in my intermediate books and recommendations for witches and pagans that came out recently.
That's a fantastic book.
It's very good.
Very good.
I love Two of Blood and Bones.
Yes.
Very good materials and a conversation on that. Utterly Wicked, and those two I would also give Grove Daughter Witchery as a companion.
I don't think I've read that one yet.
You need to borrow it.
I will borrow
it. Good. Hold on.
Oh, I saw this on your Instagram. Amazing.
So it goes over. Sorry. In the first kind of page, it goes over safety before hexing. So if you're looking for safety stuff, it also has hexes in here: Mirror Jar, Binding Curse, Punish a Thief, Stopper Gossip, Stopper, Poppets, How to Make Poppets, all of this.
Safe hexing.
So I give
safe hex.
Safe hex. I give Grove Daughter Witchery as a companion to those because it goes over the very practical safety methods that I like. Unlike me, which I didn't know sulfur was flammable till recently.
Frankie.
I didn't blow anything up, okay? I did the end of Match Heads.
Okay.
I was talking about the spell I did and a Run Devil Run.
Yeah.
Don't explode
Very
it.
careful. Oh my lord. I was like, what did you do?
Very good practical safety advice.
Something I would love to point out is that anything that can be used in magic, which is pretty much anything, can be used for blessing or bane. That's like one of my top quotes.
I was gonna say, that's one of my favorite things too.
Yeah, that's one of my top quotes. Blessing and bane grow on one stalk. So if you are a healer, then you have everything that you need to hex or harm.
Most protective warding plants in Italian folk magic are also curse plants. Like rue, mugwort. Rue is the big one. Rue is like one of the most commonly cited for curses, and I'm like, what? I think that the big thing about baneful magic is safety precautions, understanding how much work is actually going in, and being clear about your intentions. Like, because curses, hexes, and jinxes are 3 different things. Curses are the
those are like the Hollywood movie, like it's generational, it's like
it's
terrible.
generational, could kill someone.
Yeah, like those are the ones that like you'll most likely regret eventually.
Hexes are more like curses, but small.
Small curses.
Small curses, but like, and they don't last as long.
I would say like maximum a year-ish.
Yep. Curses can go for 10.
Curses can go
especially if you do it right.
as you want them to.
If you do it right and you're working it consistently, and that's the thing, a lot of baneful magic is if you do it
working.
Yeah. If you do it and then leave it alone and forget about it, it won't last as long versus a curse which you're working with it all the time, and that's so much energy. That's
why I'm like,
too.
when people did you curse, I'm like, bro, the fact that you think that I give a shit to like,
I just missed, this almost went in my nose.
Just, I don't have the time or the energy, and I'm not gonna use my resources to continuously curse and hex you. Like,
a jinx is the most common.
Which you probably already do if you're driving and you like, you know, look at somebody shitty after they cut you off.
Here's my hot take. Jinx is very often what we consider the evil eye.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that.
Because I had a someone who was in my life accidentally was like talking bad about me, doing a bunch of stuff, and like giving off that bad energy accidentally for a long period of time, and it built up to the point where they accidentally jinxed me.
They accidentally were talking shit about you?
No, they weren't accidentally.
Okay, I was like,
no.
What?
So they were on purpose doing all those things, and all the
accidentally
building, and they were still in my life. And then basically, after it happening for a long period of time, I had a situation in which like it was like a month and a half of me getting sick with a new ailment every week. It was like the strongest evil eye, the strongest jinx I'd ever received, and it only broke when I enlisted my ancestors and Saint Michael to help.
Damn.
With a return to sender. I was like, I need you to guide. I was like, talking to my sister, I'm like, I need you to guide me.
That right there, return to sender. Some people
consider that baneful, depending.
And yeah, I mean, but I want to know why.
Because depending on how you're doing the return to sender, I return whatever you send to me times 10.
Me too.
Because fuck around and find out. And that is considered by most people the baneful part, is you were amplifying the harm back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But if you're only returning whatever they sent you,
yeah, I don't see that
like,
as if you don't want that, then don't send it to me.
Right. Well, and like, you know, what I think is interesting is you can also do like non-baneful return to senders.
Yep.
So like,
and my favorite thing ever, baneful protection.
Me too.
That's my favorite. That's the most baneful work I ever do, is baneful protection.
Your poor editor is like, I hate this when they
Sally loves us. Everyone say hi to Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Sally.
What we're talking about? Return to sender.
Return to sender.
Yeah, like you can do a non-baneful return to sender. Like I've had people send me like blessings or like whatever and be like, oh, I lit like this, you know, candle for you, and I've been working it for 7 days, like just for X, Y, and Z, like nice things.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that's so sweet of you. And then I'll do a return to sender. Definitely, it's not in the traditional like.
No, but like you're returning that blessing.
You're returning, yeah. And then it's like, especially if you amplify it, it's like, okay, you did this for me, and I want to like amplify it and put more energy.
It's like if you're gonna come at me with Malokyo or the evil eye or a jinx, or just send that jealous tongue on me, I'm gonna send it back because I don't have the energy to deal with you.
Right. Yeah. So I like return to senders. I prefer them. I like them a lot.
I did see someone on TikTok that was like, you guys are just returning what you get from like when someone sends you bad energy. Why don't you heal it? And I'm like, that is my problem.
That's on me to heal them?
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, yeah, you know what? You can harness the energy that is sent to you for something. Yeah. I have a candle that does that, but I'm just like, I'd rather just send it back.
You know what? Some people have the energy and the capacity to do that and are like saints like that.
Yeah,
I am not one of those people.
Nope.
So, you know what? Kudos to them.
No, like if you want to heal the bad energy that someone sends you and then send it back,
you're a better person.
You're a better person. Yeah, good on you. That's awesome. So then baneful protection I think is my favorite. And here's the thing, is baneful work is so expansive. It's not just curses, hexes, jinxes. There's so many different ways. And I didn't even put protection in my Venn diagram. All right, we're on our 4th circle here.
It's true.
That's so much. But baneful protection is great because I call them tripwires.
I was just gonna say the same thing. I was like, tripwires.
So what happens is, I mean, I think a witch bottle would be a really good example of a tripwire.
Oh yeah, that's a great example.
And I just had a spell walkthrough for a witch bottle come out last week, so you can watch that. But it catches whatever is in there and just kind of keeps it there. And you can make the witch bottle specifically so it'll, as long as that's in there, it'll just have bad luck. Witch bottle, I think, is
Witch bottles are wonderful. And then
very traditional.
I love like witch ladders are not magic.
Ooh, tell me about that.
Yes, so like if you, a lot of the time you'll see them like as decorations. So like in macrame, like you can literally just like work it into macrame, or if you like crochet or knit or whatever, those are more of a catching thing, so that won't catch anything. But if you want to, you can add certain oils, or you can, like witch ladders are usually there's different items woven into those things, like woven into the macrame or whatever. Those knots, and so you can tie those things into there, and those act as like defense mechanisms and offense.
If you have a spell for that, I'd love it.
Oh, it's like there's not really like a spell. I guess I could try to like make a video about it. I want to do a video on like not magic anyway. So
I love not magic.
Me too.
So my Baneful protection is like I have a return to sender ward.
Nice.
So whatever comes at me, if it's intended to harm or ill will, it just gets sent back immediately. It's like, imagine like you throw something and it bounces back at you. That's what that is.
Yeah.
I also have a mirror ward.
I have,
but that's more. They're very fun.
I love mirror magic.
That's my familiar is in charge of that one because fox trickery. So put him in charge of the mirror. But that one specifically is more for illusions and making it so if anyone tries to get information on me without permission, they don't get anything right. Yeah, I've had that happen multiple times, and it's kind of funny because it's like, okay, you clearly tried to talk, like get information, and you didn't ask, and you're fucked.
Yeah,
and you just look like an idiot.
Well, especially as somebody who's in the public eye all the time. You know, I had somebody who tried to dox me, and send me a severed horse head, like on my doorstep, and low-key I was like, those are expensive, like, okay. You know, like, I was like,
damn, I'm keeping that.
Like, right, I was like, I mean, like, do it. But then also, it's like, you watch too much Godfather, like, just calm down.
Firstly, the horse head was in the bed, and that's what made it scary.
Yeah, and like,
it just seems like a gift.
I don't know.
It seems like a gift.
Thank you.
Like, thank you. Now I have bones.
I have bones.
Teeth. Jawbone.
Yeah, flesh. So nice. If you didn't, like, drain it yet, I've got all that blood. Didn't work out for them, clearly, and but it's nice to be able to know that you have all those protections up, and layers are the big thing. If you just have one and that you feel that like that suffices, fine. But
I mentioned 2. I definitely have way more than 2.
Oh, I have a lot.
I think I have a lot.
I have a lot.
It's not just like the house. It's like
everything. Yeah,
everything. Including like coffin nails, like all these
things. You can
things.
also wear Baneful protection too, like especially if you're going into a situation.
Just looking at your deer antler.
Oh yeah. If you're going into a situation or a space, or you're gonna need that kind of like somebody like kind of, you have like almost like a spiritual bodyguard in a way.
That's me, but that's just me carrying a spirit around with me.
Yeah.
It fell out again. But yeah, are there anything else that I feel like we touched on safety, we gave books. What are typical ingredients used in Baneful magic? And that's the thing too. Some of the ingredients used in Baneful magic are the reason you have to have like mundane safety things in order.
Oh,
because like nightshades, very much used in Baneful magic. Hemlock, belladonna, mandrake, any nightshade plant.
Any kind of poisonous.
Those are used historically in Baneful magic, but you can't just...
Sulfur.
You can't just use those without having like gloves, washing hands, etc. And
well, and a lot of like, it's like, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure you do because you work with a lot of like animal spirits and whatnot, but like rotting flesh, dead animals, dead insects, sometimes if I'm feeling extra spicy, shit. Like, you know, and obviously like you need to be really careful about working with things like that. Like you need to be so careful because you can get a lot of...
You can get sick.
You can get sick, like really sick.
You can die.
Yeah, like you need to be so careful with working with things like that. So, I mean, if it's more of just use
and these
common
are
sense.
Primarily like we're talking about traditional Baneful methods.
Right.
Of course you can get more creative and not use these things that we're talking about. But when you look up traditional curses, like with poppets, with depending on folk magic, like one of the I found an Italian folk magic death curse in one of my anthropological ones. But yeah, traditional curses often used remains of humans or their bones and were fed to victims, which is what probably killed them. Those were death curses, and they are very,
Diseases.
very intense and very, very dark.
Yeah.
That is all we're leaving in about it. Because I'm Sally.
That whole last segment was
so bad.
that was dark.
Blood and Bones has a lot of really good methods for animal bones.
It's such a good starting point for
It is and then Utterly Wicked, I think, builds on above that. Grove Dogger, so I go Grove Dogger, Witchery, or Blood and Bones, Utterly Wicked, in that order.
Cool.
And also, like, studying traditional, whatever your tradition is, whatever your culture is, the traditional Baneful work in there. For me personally, I don't tend to do a lot of Baneful work. Well, actually, I do. I bless them. Banefully. Baneful blessing, Baneful protection.
You gotta work on your strengths.
I know, and I gotta put people in the freezer.
Yeah.
That's really what I do.
Freezers, though, like, I don't feel like is too much of a hex. It's more of just like a pause. But also,
Yeah.
those don't last long at all.
What?
How long are you leaving people in the freezer? I had a jar of snow. My brother threw it out. I'm really sad about it. Anyway.
Not the jar of snow.
I know. I was gonna use it later. Anyway. So.
But yeah, I think that's everything. I mean,
that's a good basis. Like,
yeah, that's a good basis
we
for
covered
Baneful magic. We covered what it is, what to use in
surface
it,
area.
safety, historical, different methods, different things we do. We have a whole Venn diagram.
But either way, like, neither of us are saying that you have to
No,
do
you don't.
Baneful.
You don't
have to. And if you want to, you know, that's on you. That's your own practice. That's your life. But
If
it's
you
just,
are like us and you want to put it in with other things,
yeah.
because like I never do like a straight
Baneful
up
protections is
Yeah.
our favorite. I mean, because again, it's like,
Never do a straight up hex.
I'm
just
not
like,
going after anybody because
No.
it's way too much time and effort. And
is.
it's like, if you want to come after me, then it's like, then, you know, that happens and that
Yeah.
takes care of it. Like, I don't have to deal with it. But,
Yeah.
you know, use discretion and really
research before you do
research a lot.
anything.
And
or pick up
really,
anything.
really like try to figure out if this is actually what you want. Because again, do you want a banishing where it sends somebody away? Or do you just want to piss somebody off and like make their life miserable? You know, it's like, sure, yeah, maybe you want both, but it's like, what's the more practical thing that's gonna make you happier and make your life better and just like, it's just.
I like to go for the least amount of work.
Same. Yeah, because it's like this is a lot of work, and then like the bigger the hex is, the more work it is, the more
cleanup.
the more cleanup, the more
I just
energy.
Infiltrate it into my protections and then do a molecular cure.
Well, so
Cure.
last minute story time.
Oh my
Very-
God.
it's short. But like I had a friend who had just started out practicing, and I mean, you know, a lot of the time and most of the time, people get into practicing because they feel like they need control over their lives, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a big reason why a lot of people get into practicing. And so she was like, I am like, you know, I'm good with my foundations, I think, and I want to hex this person. And I was like, all right, like, here's some books. And they went for it. And like, the thing is it worked, but because she was working so much on this hex and didn't really like gain up the magical endurance, I guess, you know, because it's like you do kind of have to gain that, like as if you're going to the gym. So she didn't have quite that endurance to where she wanted to be, so she was exhausted all the time. Exhausted. Like,
Yeah, I don't have that kind of I'm chronically ill, bro.
But it's like you have to know your limits as well, you know, and it's like, but then if you talk to another practitioner who's been practicing for years and maybe even like professional practitioner, it's like they're gonna be like, oh yeah, like they would look at this hex and be like, I could do that in a week easy, and like not even like, you know, have a hair out of place. So it's, you just have to kind of figure out like where it is, and at the end of the day, practice makes perfect. I'm not saying practice hexing, I'm just saying like practice
makes
practicing.
And here's the thing is like Baneful work, because if you're uncomfortable like me with doing straight up curses, hexes, jinxes,
Don't do them.
don't do them. Like, you don't have to do them, but if you're still interested in Baneful work, some of the things we talked about, like blessing banefully, Baneful protection, there are ways for you to still kind of hone in and explore it and like maybe practice it a little without like actually doing a hex, because I don't like hexing or jinxing. If I jinx, I'm just throwing the evil eye.
Right.
And I usually don't do that unless someone really pissed me off, because my bitch, I'm Italian.
Yeah, don't fuck with them.
I don't like, these are things that like, because of my practice and where my practice comes from, like that kind of stuff is not stuff my family did.
Yeah.
And there are people in Italian folk magic who did do those spells, but in my family, we just didn't do it. So I take the route that my ancestors did, which is like, okay, if I want someone to learn a lesson, I'm gonna go the long way.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because then my ancestors are like,
okay, I see you.
I see you,
Yeah.
I'll help.
Yeah.
So if I'm blessing someone to see their faults and to rectify them, I'm doing like 9 days of prayer to a specific saint to do that, and having my ancestors help, and doing a spell for it. Sometimes you can take a skull candle and stuff things in it and pray over it. But that's just the method I prefer because that's what my ancestors did, and it makes me more comfortable.
Good.
Plus, Baneful protection.
My last closing.
Oh my god.
I know.
Alright.
Always. Even if you are set of like, I'm never doing Baneful work, still learn about it, please.
Yes.
Like, you need to know about it, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of healing work. Because how are you going to heal something you don't even know anything about?
I was just reading about that in The Ways of the Holy Benedetta by Thaumaturgo, which is like Benedicaria Catholic folk magic in Italy. They said lots of Benedette, no stregoneria, which is the Italian witchcraft side of it, because you can't heal what you don't know.
Yes.
We're just folk magic.
It's the folk magic.
Folk magic.
That's what it is.
Same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of overlap. So, yeah. But I think that's like pretty much the general.
That's everything.
That's a very surface level type of stuff. But those 3 books that we suggested, super good. Well, I haven't read this one yet, so. But the 2 books that I know of. Very good. Very good.
But yeah, Olivia's socials will be down below. We also did a video that's going to be over on her channel, Unveiling. And yeah, if you want to like, comment, turn the bell on, subscribe, feel free to, but no pressure. Remember to drink water and have a great rest of your day. Salve Benedica.
Bye.